Now, we know that Trump and the Patriots, they have been building the transitional economy. This is being built in parallel to the central bank system. It seems like it's all part of the same thing, but it really isn't. The central bank system is not based on jobs. It's not based on higher wages. It's not based on manufacturing. So Trump, he is building this new system. And actually, this new system is becoming stronger and stronger every single day. Now, we know, because we've been talking about it for quite a while, that the job numbers are manipulated. But we need to understand something very important. The jobs that Trump is creating is separate and apart from the central bank system and their manipulation. Trump, when he's reporting on job numbers and what he has brought back to the United States, these are the jobs that are coming into the new economic system. And what we have seen is that the jobs that are coming back are now off the charts. He has added a whopping 273,000 jobs, smashing the consensus of 175,000. That's what they expected. Now, the unemployment rate remains at 3.5%. And according to the data released this morning by the BLS, Trump has added more than 7 million jobs in his first term. Now, if we look at what Obama did during the same time period, the job numbers decreased by 1.3 million. Obama was so bad at creating jobs that by the end of his second term, he said that jobs were not coming back to the U.S. You would need a magic wand to bring all of it back. And guess what? Trump has been doing it. Trump has gained more than 8 million more jobs than Obama in their respective first 3+ years in office. And the Council of Economic Advisors, they tweeted out the following. In only 2 months, the U.S. economy created more jobs than experts projected would be added all year in 2020. They continued. The Congressional Budget Office projected 441,000 jobs will be created over the 4 quarters of 2020 in its final pre-2016 election forecast. Instead, 546,000 jobs were added in January and February. Now, if we go back in time, we can see that things are definitely changing. Remember, when Obama was in office, we were following something called the U.S. labor force participation rate. This is all the individuals that are participating, and we also showed those individuals that have fallen off. Now, during the years of 2008 going to 2013, there was a sharp decline in those participating in the labor force. And then from 2013 to 2016, it really was flatlined. It bobbed up and down, but it pretty much was flatline. What have we seen in the year of 2019 going into 2020? It is now increasing, which means that the participation rate rose to the highest level since mid-2013, or 63.4%. So what Trump is doing right now, it is working. And those individuals in the middle and lower income brackets, they are finding jobs. Where Obama said, that's it, we're done. You can't bring back more jobs. No, under a central bank system, under a globalist model, you cannot bring back more jobs because that wasn't the plan. The plan was to move all the jobs out of the U.S. Trump's plan is completely different. It's not following the central bank rules. It's not following the globalist rules. He is following his own rules to build a strong country. How do you do that? We've been watching it in real time. You bring back manufacturing any way you possibly can. Think about what has been going on right now. He started off with tariffs to force companies out of China. But what we're seeing today, tariffs didn't even have the same effect of what is happening with this new event. And this new event is showing corporations that, hey, we need to rethink these supply chains. And people are starting to catch on that, wow, a lot of these companies, they are now moving out of China, maybe back into the U.S. We also have to understand is that Trump has told us already that the U.S. is energy independent. Now start to put all this together. Everything that we see happening with the market in flux, which we know why this is in flux, with the supply chains being altered, with the news being very upset with what's going on, with them reporting that there's a recession coming, this is a huge transitional pivot. Now, yesterday we mentioned the 70s. When we were coming off the gold standard, we were going on to the petrodollar system. Now, the mainstream media back then, and those individuals who were in charge, they didn't want people to know that the economy was going to be hurting because they were transitioning. So they made up stories. They said, oh, there's a fuel shortage. Oh, there's speculators in the gold market. And we might have to remove gold and the dollar where we had them pinned together. That might have to be separated, which they did. Now, they weren't predicting a recession. They weren't out there saying, hey, a recession's coming because we're going to be transitioning right now. Oh, and by the way, all the indicators look like a recession is going to hit any second. And what do we see happen in the 70s? We had a recession. Why? Because there was a transition going on. We were coming off the gold standard and moving on to the central bank full fiat system. What is happening right now? We are now transitioning into a new system. Remember, the central bank system is going to be going into recession. It's going to be going into a global depression. That's what the mainstream media is talking about. That's what they want to crash. Trump wants to keep that economic system continually chugging along long enough to complete the new economic system. What does he need to complete this? He needs companies to reestablish supply chains. He needs companies to continually move out of China. He needs companies to come back to the U.S. We already have energy independence. We already are now mining rare earth minerals. He's already establishing new trade deals. And once these companies move out of China, he's going to establish new trade deals. We already renegotiated NAFTA, and it's become the USMCA, where he's going to use this temporarily to be a manufacturing powerhouse, which combines Canada, Mexico, and the U.S. What else does he need? He needs the gold price to rise. Not too fast. Yes, it's going to bob up and down, but he needs it to continually move up and up and up. He needs to remove the manipulation from the precious metals market. And as we can see, gold is now moving up. Now, am I saying it's going to skyrocket to 5,000, 10,000? No, that would freak everyone out. That wouldn't help the new economic system. So this is going to be a slow push upward. That's what we are going to see right now. What else does Trump need to complete all of this? Well, we know that jobs are coming back. We know the labor participation rate is increasing. He needs the Fed to cut the rates again. They did an emergency 0.5 point already when the mainstream media and all the financial pundits were out there saying that the Fed wasn't going to do anything. Trump is never going to get what he wants. But all of a sudden they did an emergency cut. This was a gift to Trump. Now they're going to meet again and they're going to cut it once again. Think about what just happened here. He got 0.5 point by doing nothing. And now he's going to get even more. And the Fed is going to start stimulus. This is going to keep the central bank system from imploding long enough. He needs it to stay alive through the 2020 election because, as we know, if the system falls apart and everything starts to go south, this will not work in Trump's favor. If you notice, Trump is very calm about the market right now. He's not making a big deal about it because he knows what's coming next. Now, think about the benefits that he's getting out of all this. How what we are watching allows him to complete the transition, to complete the build of the new economic system. He just got handed a huge amount of money. what is he going to do with these funds? He's going to target sectors that need help. Think about that for a second. He's going to look around the country. Certain corporations, certain businesses, certain areas are going to need help. He now has the funds to do this. This is not a recession, a depression like everyone is saying. This is a transition. And yes, Trump, the Patriots, those who are working behind him, they're going to keep this system going long enough until after the 2020 election. Now, after this, Trump, he's going to allow the central bank system, their entire economic system, to fall apart. They will have no cover then. There'll be nothing to cover it up. They'll be out in front of the curtain, no longer behind the curtain. Trump then can make his case that, listen, the Fed, the other central banks, they were behind the curve. They didn't know what to do. I was calling the shots. I was dictating to the central banks on what to do. Think about the setup. Think about precious metals. We need the precious metals to rise because that is going to destroy the central bank system. This is also going to show that the fiat currency is worthless, that gold is actual money. It's leverage. It's an insurance policy. And people are going to start to wake up to this fact because Trump, after the 2020 election, he's going to make this perfectly clear. What we are watching right now is the transition into the new economic system. We're watching the globalist central bank system die. That's what we're watching. And of course, as we know, the central bankers, the mainstream media, they don't want this to happen. They want it to happen before the election because this way they can blame it on Trump. But if this happens, or when it happens after the 2020 election, it's not going to help them. Trump doesn't have to get reelected again. Trump then can use everything he needs to use to complete the transition and go after the central bank. And this is what those in power are so worried about.